heard a really interesting story a while back, and I want to share that with you, and then just a quick application that I think will give you some encouragement and maybe some insight into some things that you could do this week or apply to your life. There's a story of a young man who was a waiter. He just recently met the girl of his dreams, and they'd gotten engaged. One evening when he was waiting on a table, there was 3 people sitting at this table. It happened to be a couple. They're on a date of sorts with a third-wheeler, their third-wheeler friend. She seemed a little distraught, but as he began to bring out their food and to take their orders and to do all the things that waiters do, the third-wheeler begins giving him the eye. And not like the stink eye, like the opposite of that. And as this meal progresses, he obviously sees that she is flirting with him. Now, note, at the very beginning, I told you that this young man had found the girl of his dreams. She loved the Lord, and she wanted to pursue God with him and to spend the rest of her life with this young man who was a waiter at this table. And when he brings out their bill, this third-wheeler young lady slips a piece of paper across the table, looks at him in his face, and says, "I just went through a pretty tough divorce. Give me a call sometime. I get lonely." He takes the card, leaves the bill, goes into the other room, and very shaken up in his mind and in his body, he asks his friend to go receive their payment. He gets home that night, hustles through his house very quickly, and as he goes through his bedroom on his way to his bathroom, he takes this card that he had gotten with her number and name on it and flings it in the top drawer. He stands there in the bathroom and puts his hands down on the sink, and he looks at himself in the mirror and out loud verbally asked himself,
"Why did you throw the card in the top drawer?"
Moments later, he goes back in and he rips this thing up, knowing good and well that if he would have kept it there, it would have left open a gate to his flesh when he felt weak. We as children of God have an abundant life, and that doesn't mean it's always easy, but it does mean that God gives his children good things. It does mean that God takes care of us, and we have life's best on this side, and then even better, we have the greatest gift on the other side. And sometimes Satan will hold up a counterfeit or a temporary pleasure and say, "Here, you want this now?" And we say, "No, I don't want it." And we take a piece of whatever it is, or a card, spiritually speaking, and we keep it in our back pocket or keep it in the top drawer so that when we feel weak, we have access to fall, subconsciously knowing what it will or could do to us. There's a concept that I find commonly throughout the Chronicles and the books of Kings in the Old Testament when there was a righteous man ruling on the throne. The Bible talks about how good some of these men were. Like, I believe Joash, the king who became king when he was 7 years old, and I think of Asa, one of the mighty kings that were righteous in the eyes of God. But there was a commonality about both of these kings and a few other kings as well, and that commonality was, though they were righteous, and though they cast out the false idols, and though they did all of these things, including Asa casting out his own mother from the land because she worshipped Baal, they did not tear down the high places. The high places of those days were places where people went to worship these pagan gods. And we see inevitably, because they did not take action to tear down those high places, those very high places were part of their downfall. So let me ask you this. Are you keeping a card in your top drawer? If so, I want to challenge you to take it out, rip that sucker up. No, we can't stop everything from coming at us in this life. No, we can't stop every temptation coming at us, but we can definitely take the card out of our back pocket, our top drawer, get rid of it, weed that thing out, go back again and weed it out again if it wants to come back around. Give yourself wholeheartedly to God this week. You won't regret it. Love y'all.